So what's up?
Coach, you're here in Florida, 14 guys on your roster from this state. How do you utilize a game here to help maybe with recruiting down the road and to expand your brand?
Only if you win. That's the only way you do that. There's a lot. Florida's important to us. There's no question about that. Central Florida's been really good to us in the past, getting guys like KJ Dillon and Carl Joseph, and so that's been good. The whole state's been good to us. I think it's probably a little overstated that you can get some things done in recruiting by playing in a bowl game here. The bowl games are for our team. It's the reward of having a good football season. It's for our fan base, for coaches, players, families, administrators, alumni, all that good stuff. All that's very positive. And to be able to come to a city like Orlando, which I consider this one of the premier bowl destinations in the United States. So that's all very, very, very positive.
What's left to be accomplished down here compared to what you have done already back home?
Go through the process of staying in shape is probably the biggest thing. We got a good weekend. For the majority of the games that we played this year, we get 1 week to prep. So we can prep for anybody in 1 week. So we've already prepped for Miami 1 week back home, gave them some time off, and now we got to rework some things and get out there and get 3 or 4 days of good practice in to stay in shape, maintain timing, and then do what we need to from an X's and O's point of view to make sure our guys know what to do.
What do you get out of shape in the 3 or 4 days you cut them loose?
No, not in 3 or 4 days. We took 2 weeks once the season was over and healed up. We were pretty banged up there for games 11 and games 12. So got most everybody back and got their legs underneath them. Got a few developmental practices in, which that's never enough. Guys, I think another thing that gets overstated with bowl games is the importance of being able to practice developmental players. You don't have a whole lot of time to do that when it comes to recruiting, finals, holidays, that sort of things. But we got a few of them in, and then we're able to work them out a good bit to make sure that they stay in shape.
Far from looking at tape of Miami and Brad Kai, quarterback, especially in their offense.
Oh, they're good. They're arguably the most talented team that we've faced all year. It's a different type of offense than what we see in the Big 12, but we've played some pro-style offenses this year. They can score. They got unbelievable talent. They do a great job of protecting the football and managing the game. Defensively, they're as big and strong, as fast as we've seen all year. So that'll be a huge challenge as well.
Any health or academic eligibility issues?
No, all good to go. Quick shout out to Brittany Odell. She's an Orlando girl, and she's our academic advisor. So she's back home enjoying this bowl game as well. But she did an outstanding job for our guys academically. We ended with a 2.53 team GPA, which is the highest it's been since I've been here, tracking it back 2011. 0 academic casualties, and big shout out to her for doing a fantastic job for our football program.
Coach, what kind of statement can you make with a win here over Miami?
Yeah, national brand. I usually have to educate our players on our opponent. I don't have to educate our players on this opponent. Everybody knows about Miami and what kind of players they got, and having guys from South Florida, and there's some crossover with some of their players and some of our players helps, but we're the visitor. We're the visiting team in Florida against the Florida school that's got a national brand. We can go win this one. It'll mean something. Not supposed to win it. We're the underdog. But if we can somehow figure out a way to win, then it'll be good for the program. There's no doubt.
You said enemy territory, but what kind of crowd do you expect the Mountaineer fans to come with?
Huge. It'll be big. Mountaineer fans will travel. This is a area that they want to go to, just being the East Coast, West Virginia's East Coast, Orlando's East Coast. An old Big East rival. It means something. This is the 20th time that Miami and West Virginia have played, so a lot of good familiarity with the programs and each other and the fan bases. I would anticipate this to be a pretty good one.
I think the receivers who have are taking the place of an injured Karan Way. How do you see that shaking out, and what sort of confidence do you have in that position?
Good. Javon is playing some outside. I mean, we started him on the outside against Baylor, and Ford plays into it. He tweaked his knee up, so he couldn't play the rest of the game. But he's good. He'll play a good bit at that outside spot. Marcus Sims has came on of late. Played well against Iowa State. Played a little bit against Baylor. So those two guys will hold it down. Gary Jennings is doing some good things as well. He's had a really good month, probably the best month that he's had since he's been on campus. So, got guys. We gotta protect up front. They got a great pass rush. They got they got phenomenal secondary. So we got to give Skyler some time, and he's got to be able to be accurate with the ball.
You talked about some of that history. You talked about Miami with the U. You talked about Mark Richt. What do you think of Mark Richt? What do you think about as a coach?
Yeah, it's the first time I've competed against him, and really I've never met him, but he's always been a guy that I've followed back when he was offensive coordinator at Florida State. I mean, that was, I was watching what they were doing, and he just had so much success at Florida State. And then obviously going to Georgia, he's won a lot of bowl games. He's won a lot of football games. He's one of the premier coaches in college football just because of his success and how long that he's been around. They've done a great job winning bowl games. It's going to be challenging. He's going to have these guys ready to play. And then, obviously just the history between West Virginia and Miami from a Big East point of view, that brings a lot to the table as well.
Danny, you mentioned adjustments playing against a different team. More adjustments for the offense or the defense?
Oh, there's always adjustments on both sides. This is, we're a lot more like what they do than they are some of the teams in the Big 12. I mean, you look at the Big 12. I mean, there's not a whole lot of pro-style offenses. There's a lot of up-tempo spread stuff, but their base, what they do on defense, is something that we've seen a good bit this year. But what they do on offense, more BYU type stuff where they're going to slow it down, huddle, run the football, try to big play over the top. Is going to be interesting to watch.
What about Kaiser? Is he healed up and full ready to go?
Yeah, he's good. He's practiced, so he still needs a little bit of time to heal. How much he plays, not going to have to rely on him as much based on Marvin Gross, coming up and the one game that he played in the majority of the time, he was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. So we got depth there. That's why this team's been good, is to be able to overcome things like that. But he's suited up. He'll be out here. He'll have a little bit of a wrap on his hand, but other than that, he's good to go.
What kind of preparations? I know obviously being at the bowl game, giving the guys plenty of opportunities to practice, but also giving them time to kind of relax. How is it really kind of something really hard to balance?
Can be. There's a lot to do here, which is why this is one of the best bowl destinations that exists. You got to be able to balance it. We've got some older guys that have been in a lot of these games and understand, when it's time to work, it's time to work. When it's time to go out and have fun, it's time to go out and have fun. So there's things to do. We'll let them get out and go do some fun things for a few days, and then the closer we get to the game, the more that we'll pull them back in and get them a lot of rest and feed them and hydrate them real good and get them mentally prepared for the game.
Are you a roller coaster guy?
I'm not.
Okay, thanks. Sorry to derail it there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just nuts.
Dan, I just want to ask, you've been a part of 2 wins, 2 losses in bowl games since you've been here. What do you feel like a win can do to, propel your team into the offseason?
Yeah, it gives you a lot of confidence. There's no question. The last year when we won that game in Arizona, it gave us a lot of confidence going into the 2016 season. So you want to send the seniors out on top. That's important. You want to use it for some momentum going into the next season as well. So we've had success doing that in the past, and I think the key to a bowl game is making sure that you're excited to be there, making sure that you're getting your work done. We'll make sure that happens as long as it stays like this,
Okay, thanks,
which I'm assuming it will.